Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. Well, hello and welcome to Bowtie Life. This is part 2 in a series that we're starting, and I want to talk to you a little bit about some science stuff. Now, if you watch the videos that we put out, it's mostly about gardening, and we're actually going to be working our way towards gardening because we're going to be talking about lighting, grow lights, and explaining some of the technologies that we're looking at, like lumens and Kelvin, and what does all that mean. And to get to that point, I needed to present a couple of other concepts to you. And the last video, we just talked about the very simple thing of keeping the lens clean on your camera. Well, here we are on the second part, and I want to talk about the amazing computer you have in your brain. Now, if you watch any of my videos, you know I got ADD. My brain doesn't work the way the normal brain does. It's kind of messed up. You hear me stammer and stutter. Finding words is very normal for me to have to think about the next word I'm going to say sometimes, especially when I'm more tired. It's just part of what I've learned to live with throughout my life. But anyway, we're going to talk about, even with the problems that we have in our brains, the brain in our head, the computer in our head, the brain, is so much more powerful, not just than the phone that you might be holding, or the TV that you might be watching, or any computer in existence on the planet. In fact, some say that the computer in your brain is even more complex than all the computers combined on the whole planet. That's how big and massively strong this brain is that God created. And so one thing that this brain does is it does adjustments to light. Now, adjustments to light. So right now you're looking at me. My face is lit approximately the same brightness as the wall behind me. And you can see my face looks just slightly darker than the wall behind me because the wall behind me is white. Well, my face is not exactly white. It's light colored, but it's a little bit darker than that wall. So my face shows a little darker. However, and this is a key thing. I'm going to turn around to where you can see the background behind me. Now, we're looking outdoors, and we've all seen pictures like this where someone's face looks really good, and did you see that? And the background goes really white. Oh my goodness, you can't even tell what's back there. Well, this is called backlighting, and the problem is the computer in your phone, which remember, isn't as good as the computer in your brain, can't figure out exactly the balance. Now, we do have better phones now. Some of the phones that you have, you can take a picture like this and that looks as good as this does, and it's perfectly in focus both places. But my phone, it's an iPhone SE. It's not as advanced as some of these newer iPhones, and it's a really good phone to illustrate this whole thing I'm trying to show. Now you see there's more dark. What the camera's trying to do is it's trying to focus on the things that are moving, and if I go like this, there's a little bit less dark, and if I go like this, it gets closer and closer. See, there's less of me, but notice when I get back here closer to the window, my face gets even darker. Okay, so the computer in the phone that's recording this is having a little trouble adjusting. Now, the cool thing is, this is a neat thing about phones, is I can tap on the screen the outdoors, and look, the outdoors is perfect, but notice what happened to my face. It got a lot darker. So let me just show you one more little part of this principle, and then we'll be done with this video. Okay, so now we're inside the Bowtie living room, and you can see above my shoulders here are 4 lights. This is where we get into that white balance. We're talking about backlighting, and now you can actually see my face is really good with these lights. Well, I have an extra light up here and an extra light over here to help balance things out. But I want you to look particularly at these lights. Now, these lights are registered at different Kelvin temperatures, and we're going to talk about that in the next video. So I'm not even going to throw the labels up here. But what I do want you to notice, you notice how this one up here looks a little more blue than this one up here. This one here looks a little more yellow, okay? This one here is kind of between that one and that one, and this one here is even more so, closer to that one, not as close to yellow as this one is. So there's a scale here. We have the bluest one, we have, which we're going to call something like daylight, and then we're going to call cool white over here. So yeah, we're going to get into those terminologies that you see on the light bulbs, but first I wanted to talk to you about the feature on the camera called white balance. Now this is going to become important. It's a little bit of it's a little scientific thing, but I have on my app, I have a way to control my white balance. Now, right now, I'm changing my white balance to where it's 4,000 Kelvin. Now, don't worry too much about where it is right now. We're going to explain what 4,000 Kelvin really means. This light right here over my shoulder, right here, this one right here, is now adjusted to the camera so that the camera can see this as white. Now, why is all this important? Because back there, remember the backlighting? The camera's trying to adjust to my face. Back there, it makes it all washed out. Well, your brain can look at the scene that I was looking at out in the Florida room, and your brain can see the outside, the inside, and everything's perfectly balanced because the computer in your brain is so advanced it can do it. Now, like I said before, there are some computers in these phones that do it as well. Pretty good. In fact, I've been amazed at some of the stuff I've seen. But when we're getting onto cameras, there is still that challenge. So right now, see, this one right here is white, but notice there's slight amount of blue in this light right here, this one right here, okay? And even more blue in this one up here in the corner. Now let's go the other way. This one is white, but notice there's a little more yellow up here in this one. So the white balance is actually set to this light right here. Now here's the cool thing, watch. I'm going to take the white balance and adjust it to that light right there. Now, look how blue everything appears. This is really blue. It almost looks like a blue light. My lights have the capability of doing that, but no, it's not. It's the same color. We haven't changed the lights. We've simply changed the white balance on the camera. And this looks blue, this looks blue. This doesn't look, if you look carefully, it looks like a little bit of blue, but mostly it looks like white. And so now I'm going to go all the way over to this one over here. Watch this. When I adjust the white balance to go all the way over to this one in the top corner here, this light is now white. This one's not so white. This one here a little more yellow, and look at the yellow in that one up there now. So that's white balance. That's the thing that your brain does automatically, but we have to trick the camera into doing it because when this image gets printed out, we can't adjust those colors. Well, you can, but once it's printed, we can't change the print. We have to figure out what white balance we want. So here we're going to go back to this light right here, which is about 4,000 Kelvin. And now this light looks white. And if you just take your hands and cover all the other lights and look at it, you can see that it looks like white. This one you can actually tell is yellow. And this one up here, look at there, you can actually tell is blue. If I cover the others, you can tell is blue. That's hard to do. Anyway, you get the idea. That is white balance on the phone. Now, these are concepts you don't have to be super familiar with to understand the rest of the videos in this playlist. I do want to explain in the next video about what these Kelvin things are and what they mean, and a few different things on how it works with our eyes as we get older, and a few other little thises and that's about how it works. And it might even encourage you to change some of the lights in your house. So stay tuned, follow along, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. If you have subscribed to the channel, thank you very much for watching along. Every bit helps. If you thought this was educational, informational, see, I'm stumbling over my words, or even entertaining, click the thumbs up and share on your social media if you have any friends that might learn something from this video. We are trying to grow this channel. It is my own personal log of how things work, and I'm out talking to people, and sometimes I need illustrations like this to help show what I'm talking about, because my brain, I can't explain it sometimes. And right now I can explain it, and I'm a little tired, but the words are coming out of my mouth in sequence. So anyway, thanks for watching along. And watch along for the next one. Be sure and catch the playlist. If you haven't seen any of the other videos on this playlist, the playlist actually has everything in order, and you can go to whichever part of this you want to. This is just a few parts. I'm trying to keep them short. And so, yeah. Next video, we're going to start right here on this scene. So have a blessed day.